Good morning, students. So, today we are going to start with the chapter 9. So, Introduction to C. So, from this chapter, the volume 2 starts. So, the volume 2 first lesson is the Introduction to C. So, from this lesson, we'll be learning about the programming language. So, how the programming language work, that is the C. programming language. So these are the discussion points which we are going to discuss in this first part. So starting with the introduction, the general introduction about the C++. Second one is benefits of learning C++. So why we should learn, what are all the benefits that C++ have. Third one is character set. So what are all the various character set available in C++. And the last one is lexical units. So we name it as a token. So we are going to learn what are all the tokens available. So it is just a smallest individual unit in a program. We use it in a program. We use the token in a program while writing the program, C++ program. So we are going to learn about tokens in this video. First, we start with the introduction. So C++ is one of the most popular programming language because after C, the language which reaches the user, which reaches the developer more is the C++. So C++ is the most popular programming language. The reason is it supports both procedural and object oriented programming concepts. So that is the main advantage which makes the developer to adapt the concepts. So because in procedural language means, so there will be set of rules, predefined rules. We have to follow that set of rules for writing a program. So here program is nothing but so writing a function to work something. So for applying something, we have to write some set of codes that we call as a program. So the procedural programming language means it will be having the predefined set of rules. That rules only should be followed while writing the programs. There won't be any change in the rules. We cannot able to change the rules, so it will be predefined. So that is the main disadvantages in the procedural programming languages. So later they have developed a concept called object oriented programming language. So that is the C++. So whenever say for example, if you write a set of code, a set of group of codes, block of codes, if you want to access that specific block of code means there is no need to access the entire block of code. So you just assign a object for that specific block of code. So with that object you can call the entire block. So by calling a simple object, by using the name, you can say as a identity for a specific block of code, that we can call it as an object. So by accessing the object, we can access those codes easily, set of block of codes easily. So that is the main advantage in the object oriented programming language. So it orients the programming language just oriented or with based on the object created for a specific block of codes. So that is the real concept of the procedural and object oriented programming concept. So C++ supports both the procedural as well as the object oriented. So that is why C++ is called as a hybrid language. So C++ means it is plus plus. Here in C language you have you might have heard about the concept called the plus plus. So plus plus is nothing but a increment operator. It means that, say for example, I plus plus means I is equal to I plus 1. So that is the meaning of I plus plus. So it increments, it is the next level. So that is the name they have derived as C++. So it is the next level to C language. So they have also named as C with classes. So here the concept called classes is a new concept which they have implemented in the C++ that we learn in the upcoming chapters. So this is a basic introduction about the C++. Next we are going to learn about the benefits of C++. That is nothing but benefits of learning C++. So why we need to learn C++? Because the first thing is, when compared to C, there are some additional benefits available in the C++. So first one is, it is highly portable language. It means portable means we can easily carry from one place to another. Here the program can be created in one system and it can be carried to another system, and there it can be compiled and executed. So that is the first advantage, that is a highly portable language. So it is a multi-device programming language and the multi-platform application development. So in one application, one C++ based application, the program can be created, and the similar C++ of another similar C++ application can be execute and run the program. So that is the first advantage. And next one is the C++ is a object oriented programming language. We told that we use a common object. We use a object for each and every block. That is the main advantage of the C++. So this object oriented concepts, what are all the concepts they have added? So starting from classes, and next one is inheritance. So and third one is polymorphism, data abstraction and encapsulation. So these are the 5 object oriented programming concepts they have added with the in the C++. So they have upgraded the C language to C++ with these basic, these important concept, that is object oriented concept, into C++. It is a second advantage. And the third one is, C++ has a rich function library. So library, function library means it has some collection of functions, predefined function for easy use of the language, for easy implementation of the concepts. So that is the main advantage. It has wide range of functions in the library. So it has a collection of functions, predefined functions. So that is the third one. And the next one is, C++ allows exception handling. So exception handling and inheritance, function overloading, so all these things are not possible in C language. So exception handling means, exception here the term means error. So it can handle the error by itself with the help of an additional code, additional program. We can just handle the error that is found in the program. So that is the exception handling. So all these concepts we will learn in the upcoming chapters. And the last benefit is, C++ is a powerful, efficient and fast language. All these when compared to C language. So it is more powerful in the sense it has more concepts and more inbuilt functionalities for the betterment of the programming language, and it uses many additional concepts for creating the programming language easily, and it is more efficient when compared to C, and fast execution. The program will be executed and compiled and run. The program will be executed, compiled, and it can run in a fast manner. So that is the last benefit of C++. So these are the benefits of learning C++. And next one is the character set. So character set, from the name itself you can guess what will be the content. So in C++ program, so it will be using some set of characters for writing the C++ program. So that is the main concept of the character set. So what are all the characters that can be used for writing a C++ program? So almost this is the tabular column, you can able to see almost all the characters, that some of the limitations will be there while creating the next topic, that is the tokens. While creating the tokens, so or while using in tokens, some of the limitations will be there. So other than that, almost all the characters are used while writing the C++ program. Next we are going to see the lexical units, that is tokens. So C++ program, that is statements, are created by many different small elements, small concept elements that are predefined. Say for example, command line, commands, variables, constants, and symbols. So all these are come under operators and punctuators. So these individual elements, small elements, are grouped. So that group, collective group, we call it as a lexical unit or lexical elements or tokens. So the small elements that we use in the C++ program, that like commands, variables, constants, and symbols, operators, punctuators. So all these are grouped in a collective manner. That group we call it as a group of elements, we call it as a lexical unit or lexical elements or tokens. So here you can able to see what all the groups, that is the token groups, that is keywords, identifiers, literals, operators, and punctuators. So these are the 5 lexical units, that is the tokens used in C++ program. So next we are going to see about the first lexical unit, that is the first token is keyword. So keyword is nothing but it is a reserved word. Already the word are reserved. The meaning for that, the specific functionality for that particular word is already predefined. That is, we call it as a reserved. So it is a reserved word means already the functionality for that particular word is predefined. So the compiler, C++ compiler knows that this particular word has already some functionality which is predefined. So when the user uses that particular word in a program means it will check with the function library. So the user cannot use that word for any other purpose. And here the compiler is a major role. It is an intermediate between the user program and the computer. So it checks the whether the user is writing the program by satisfying the basic set of rules which is already predefined. So the user has to write the program by satisfying the predefined set of rules and regulations. Some syntax will be there. So based on that, whether the user is writing or not. So like that it will check. That is the main work of the compiler. So here you can able to see the tabular column. So these are all the predefined keywords, predefined words, reserved words, where it has some specific meaning. So the user cannot use these words for any other purpose, even for identifying a variable. Like that, there are some restrictions with this keywords. So this is all about the keywords, the first token, the first lexical unit, that is the basic lexical unit. And the second token, that is lexical unit, is identifiers. So we have seen that keywords are the predefined words, that is reserved words. So here identifiers are the user defined names. So where the user can create a name, create a word which tells the computer that this is a user defined. This name, particular name which is not included in the keyword, those words are called as a identifiers. That's a user defined word, user defined name, which can be used in different parts of the C++ program, like creating variables, for creating a variable, or creating a function, arrays, classes. So for all the creation of a name, for naming a function, for naming a concept, or naming a block, so that part we can use this identifier. So these are all the fundamental, the basic building blocks of a program. So these variables, functions, arrays, classes, so all these are the basic building blocks for a C++ program. So here some set of rules to be followed for creating a, for naming the identifier. So first one is the first character of an identifier must be an alphabet, or it should be an underscore. So it cannot be a number. So that is the meaning. It cannot be a number or a special character or a space or any other characters. So it can be either an alphabet or an underscore. So that is the main point to be followed while naming an identifier. And the second one is only alphabets, digits and underscore are allowed. So these combinations. So first character must be a alphabet or underscore, and in addition to that we can add some digits, that is a number 0 to 9, and other special characters are not allowed in the part of this identifier. And the third one is C++ is case sensitive. So when you create a identifier in capital letter means it should be used in capital letter. So in case if you are creating in small letter, lower case means it should be used in lower case. So that is the case sensitive. And reserved words or the keywords cannot be used as a identifier name. Already we have mentioned in the keyword topics. So that keyword or the reserved words cannot be used as a identifier. So that is the main thing we have to keep in mind while naming the identifiers. And next one is the, in case if the user is creating two words, the user want to have a two words as a variable name means the user can use the underscore in between the words. So here they have given total sales. So total sales is a two words, so in between they can use the underscore for combining it in a single word. And the user can also use the capital in between the uppercase in between the second word as a uppercase. So first letter of the second word can be uppercase. So already we have told that C++ is a case sensitive language. So while creating, in case here you see the example Tamil mark, so the M is a uppercase. So whenever you use the Tamil mark, the word keyword means, so you have to use the same as it is when you create. So these are all the rules you have to keep in mind, the user have to keep in mind while creating the identifier or while naming the identifier. And next one is the literals, that is other name for literal is constants. So it means that the values, the data items whose value will not change during the execution of the program, so that we call it as a constant. So here you can able to see the hierarchical structure, the subdivisions. So literals are numeric constants, and under that numeric constants integer constant and real constant are there. The next one is boolean constant and character, and last one is string literals. So these are all the various types of constants available in C++. And the first one is numeric constant. So as the name indicates that numeric constants are numeric values, the constants with numbers. So there are two types of numeric constants we have seen, that is first one is integer constant, that is fixed point constant, that will not have any decimal values. And next one is real constant, and it have floating point constant, that is the it will having some decimal point values. So these are the two different, that is integer constant are whole numbers, so without any fractional part. So any integer constant must have at least one digit without a decimal point. So that is the constraint here we have. So an integer constant must have at least one digit, a single digit must be there without any decimal point. And it may be a signed or unsigned. So we have already learned these two terms, signed and unsigned, in the second chapter, the number system. So signed integers are the negative numbers, and here the commas and blank space are not allowed in this integer constant. So in C++ we have already seen these also in the number system. So in C++ there are three types of integer constants, that is decimal, octal and hexadecimal. So the binary is missing. So binary is not an integer constant, will not come under the integer constant, because the binary number comes under these three types, the decimal, octal and hexadecimal. And the first one, we already know that decimal is a one or more digits which comprises of numbers from 0 to 9, and octal means it will be having values from 0 to 7, and in hexadecimal we already know that 0 to 9, and from 10 to 15 will be having alphabets from A to F. So this is the integer constant or fixed point constants. And next one is real constant. The next type is the real constant, that is our floating point constant. It means that it will be having some fractional part, that is it will be having some after some values from a decimal point, it will be having some values after the decimal point. So these constant we call it as a fractional form. These it can be written in two types, one is in the fractional form or in a exponent form. So fractional is nothing but is a normal usage, that is will be having some decimal point and some values after the decimal point. So it must be here also, it must have at least one digit before and after the decimal point. So this is the constraint here when with respect to the real constant. So one digit must be there before and after the decimal point. And exponent form is nothing but the constants will be having two parts. One we call it as a mantissa, and other one we call it as a exponent. So you see the example, the in the decimal, the fractional form is nothing but that number with a decimal value, and the exponent form you can able to see that it is written as 0.58 E8. So that is the exponent, that is the power value. The E8 means it is 0.58 into 10 power 8. So that is the 10 power we write as a E, the capital E or small e. So here the mantissa part is before E, that is 0.58, and the exponent part is that is 8, that is after E, that is the 10 power, the value, the power value is written as a exponent part, and the before E, the it is represented as mantissa. So this is the real constant. And next one is a Boolean literals, that is a Boolean constant. Boolean, we have already came across this term in the chapter 2, the part 2, that is Boolean algebra. So we have seen about the values, two values, that is true or false, that is 0 and 1. So here also the same, the Boolean constant are used to represent the either one of the Boolean values, either true or false, the true for 1 or false for 0. So this is the Boolean constant. And the next one is character constant. So character constant in C++, a valid single character. The single character is represented within single quotes. So the single character is represented within single quotes. What are all the single character we are giving within single quote means it is considered as a character. It may be a number or a symbol or a letter, whatever may be, it must be a single character within single quotes. So that is the constraint with respect to the character constant. And the last one is a string literals, that is a string constant. We told that single character within single quotes is considered as a character. Here the character or a group of character or a sequence of characters enclosed within double quotes is called as a string literal, string constants. So, whatever may be, even a single letter or a single number, when it is given within a double quotes, it is considered as a string. So that is the difference between the character constant and the string literals. So this is all about the literals, that is the constants and its types. And next one is the escape sequences. So from the name itself, you can just guess it is a set of sequence. Some sequences is going to be there in the program which is going to be escaped from the view of the compiler. So, it is going to skip some sequence, some characters are going to be skipped from the view of the compiler. So, it will be there in the program, but it will be skipped. So, it will be avoided. So, that we call it as a non-graphic characters or non-printable characters. So, it is also a character. We already told that it is a character. Character means a single letter. So, more than one character is means string. So, character means single letter. So, here it is used. So, here it is used for some purpose, some specific functionality will be there for that specific characters. So, that characters is non-printable characters or non-graphic characters. So, these characters will be typed, will be in the program, but cannot be directly typed from the keyboard during the execution. While C++ compiler executing the program, it will not be directly typed from the keyboard. For example, backspace or tab. So, these keys cannot be typed directly while the execution. So, in C++ compiler, it has some set of escape sequence. So, you can able to see the list of escape sequence characters. So, for backslash, the backslash is used. So, it is not a forward slash, a backslash is used. So, for mentioning that it is a escape sequence. By seeing the backslash, the compiler will understand. So, this character is specifically mentioned for escape sequence. Some functionality will be doing there. So, backslash b means backspace. So, in case backslash a, so while execution, so a small alert bell will be ringing there inside the CPU. In case if speakers get connected means an audible or a alert bell will be ringing. So, that is just a fraction of 1 or 2 seconds. So, that is backslash a. In case a backslash b for giving a backspace. So, like that there are various set of escape sequence available. The most frequently used escape sequence is backslash n. So, for next line, for printing the text in the next line while the execution, so backslash n is used. So, in case for giving a tab, a 5 space, we can use backslash t, that is horizontal tab, and for vertical tab backslash v. So, these are the most commonly used escape sequence characters. In case if you want to print the even the backslash itself means we can use the double backslash. So, first we have to give the backslash, and again if you give another backslash means, so it is understood that the user wants to print a backslash in the execution in the output. So, this is how various escape sequence available in C++. So, with these basic concepts, we will end up the first part of chapter 9. So, in the next video, we will see the remaining two lexical units, that is remaining two tokens, that is operators and punctuators. Thank you, students.